Our lives are spent in buildings. In fact, over 90% of our time is spent indoors. As global urbanization accelerates and the industry faces growing pressure to reduce its 40% share of global CO2 emissions, it is evident that the industry must become smarter, faster, and greener. Over time, the industry has progressed from hand-drawn sketches to building information modeling. However, the construction industry remains one of the least digitized sectors, with productivity growth of just 1% over the past 2 decades.
My name is Linda Kjellén. I'm the Sustainability Manager at CBRE Sweden. CBRE is the world's largest real estate service company. We provide all types of services that is connected to real estate and buildings. Buildings are complex. So many different stakeholders and people just to produce or build a building. In general, it's quite common that we have cost overruns, projects being delayed. Giving one example, globally, 85% of construction projects are experiencing cost overruns. They can be delayed, taking 20% longer time to finalize. Everything needs to be calculated, needs to be there at the right time, in the right sequence. And if you change something, that will affect the process, affect cost, but also, for example, CO2 emissions. We need different types of information in different stages, depending on if you are a contractor or an architect or a supplier. But we need to know what is hiding in the materials, what are the emissions, what type of data that we can follow up, be able to report and make sure that our buildings are sustainable.
My name is Austin Stiller and I'm the CEO of EPD International. The construction sectors are responsible for roughly 40% of the world's CO2 emissions. The industry has committed to quite ambitious targets, whether it's the Paris Agreement or any kind of other, the SBTi. EPD or LCA can be used for multiple purposes. An internal one is eco-design, so how do you improve your own product over time? Another one is, of course, to comply with regulation. EPDs are also moving from product-specific to project-specific, stating what that batch impact is of an environmental side. With the regulation coming into place, the regulation is formalizing the need for how to integrate sustainability into decision-making. The necessity to report will only increase. The regulator now has set out thresholds. It's not good enough just to have an average number. If you want to qualify for a public tender or for any kind of market in the future, you will need to prove that your product is better than the threshold set by, for example, a regulator. The question is now how then solutions come into place to support this industry.
In an industry where change can be slow and confronted by tough regulations, the question is, how will it be able to transform? To get a glance of what the future might look like, we can learn from the Nordic region, where new climate legislations were introduced back in 2022. Here, we find platforms like BIM.com, which connect and empower the industry to meet these new requirements, whilst ensuring buildings can be constructed in a sustainable and commercially viable way.
I'm Martin. I'm the CEO of BIM Object Group. It's a very collective feeling here that we're like a purpose-driven company. We really want to solve this in the right way. We want to make sure that we help the climate and solve the main problems of it, while yet being able to build in a very pragmatic and smart way. BIM.com is our solution to meet the challenges that the industry is facing. We come to realize that we need to work with many stakeholders in order to solve the problem. And one thing here is very important is to connect product information with projects. This is what drove us to build the solutions that we have today. And we're quite proud of having more than half of the largest property owners in Sweden having joined this platform and are actively working with our projects in it. When it then comes to projects where you have property owners or architects, engineers and construction companies, we help them to collaborate, to help them in that part of where you have the product selection process, to make smart choices about product and get that information in a well-structured way. That helps with oversight and coordination and improved planning, because you can do multiple plans while you are in your project to avoid these very late and costly changes that you otherwise would have. It's in a format that can be compliant to different regulatory initiatives. It's an international format as well, so it can be adopted to whatever it needs to be. And it is also containing very smart climate data, meaning that it's not necessarily only this generic data, but we can also actually capture as much information through a value chain as possible to get it as low and accurate as possible. And then we work with other stakeholders, like distributors, for instance, helping them to get hold of the same climate information that are used in the projects. So when you actually buy physical products, it's the same data that is then inserted and verified into the platform. It has been important to test this model, and we have done so now in a quite good way in the Nordic setting. So now when we know that it's working, we are about to expand it.
As one of the largest listed real estate companies, we have the platform and the possibility to actually change the status quo and challenge the industry. When we talk to our tenants, they want a green asset to locate their headquarters. When we speak to our employees, they want to work in a company that drives the sustainability agenda. If we talk to our owners, sustainability is key for long-term success. So, in general terms, sustainability is about profitability. If we start a new development today of a new office building, we have to reduce the emissions by at least 40%. And this is something that we actually can complete today and still have a profitable business. To reduce the emissions going forward, we have to make informed decisions of all materials that we use in our developments. We need to scale up and increase the use of circular and renewable building materials. And we must push the supply chain so that the supply chain shifts to low emission materials.
While the Nordics present a strong example of progress, much remains to be done for the industry to truly embrace sustainability and for similar regulations to be adopted elsewhere. It's not the effort of a single player that counts, but the transformation of the entire industry. This shift will require all stakeholders to embrace digitalization and work together. If we get this right, we can still build the future we envision, creating prosperity for all, while preserving the sustainability of our planet.